the officials seem to give him a fair amount of rope before they'll blow a whistle.
You mentioned no Hashimura and no AD. With all due respect to Rui Hashimura, he's a good player, and he's hurt the Grizzlies in the past. It's not like missing AD. I don't think this Lakers team, if they don't have AD, is really going to be a factor. I know he's going to come back. That was just a sort of a minor injury. They're going to be careful with it. But they've got to have him or they have no chance.
Absolutely. I mean, he's leading the league in scoring. He's getting to the free throw line pretty much at will. He's now at a point in his career. Could he have played last night? Maybe, but they have a big national TV game coming up when they go back home, and the NBA wants to make sure that their stars are available for those games. So maybe there was, the Lakers going like, you know what, we're just going to sit you out tonight, and we'll deal with this later. But yeah, without Anthony Davis, they've got no shot. And last year he was very healthy. He only missed 6 games. They went 2-4 without him. So if he remains healthy, the Lakers are going to be a factor. But really, they don't have complementary guys. I mean, their bench is averaging fewer than 20 points per game, which is last in the NBA. And unless their understudies start to pick it up, those miles are going to wear on LeBron. They're going to wear on Anthony Davis. They're going to wear on Hachimura as well.
The other little storylines sort of under the table here that I really loved were Pippen, Huff, and Kennard. All 3 of those just couldn't make it in L.A. Pippen and Huff in particular. Pippen really never got a shot, and he had a great game last night. I love that Bain told Rob Fisher when he came up, he said, you see that guy just ripped the ball away from the old man? But this sort of was, I think, a statement game, maybe is the best way to put it for Pippen, who wasn't, shying away from the fact that he didn't get a chance there. They didn't think he could make it, and he burned them.
Oh, absolutely. It's a friend of mine used to say, bury the hatchet, but mark the spot. And I think that's kind of what Scotty was doing. Look, anytime an organization, and it doesn't matter what business you're in, anytime an organization tells you they don't want you anymore, you want to come back and say, you know what, you guys screwed up. And I've talked with other people in the NBA, and they were aghast that the Laker organization did not give him more of a chance when he was out there. And the Grizzlies are very, very happy to have him. Jay Huff, as you point out, had a cup of coffee with the Lakers, but then again, he'd been around Washington, he'd been around Denver, and they just didn't have use for him, and the Grizzlies are the beneficiary.
All right, now 9 games into this season, very small sample size, we know, but your overall impression of what you like about this Memphis group and what you think they're going to have to work on.
Well, number one, in terms of working on things, it's going to be turnovers, and it's going to be integrating when guys get healthy. Okay, Gigi Jackson, we're thinking end of the calendar year probably. Vince Williams is getting really close. Conchar may well be back in the next game. Bain and Smart are, maybe a week or 2 away, depending on how their rehab goes. You're going to have some of the guys like Huff and Pippen, their minutes may go down because you've got more healthy players. This is the deepest quality roster I think I've ever seen in Memphis, top to bottom.
Wow.
All these guys can play. And Jalen Wells has come in as a rookie and been a starter. Well, what happens when Marcus Smart comes back? Does Marcus come off the bench? Does Marcus start? So that, I think, is going to be the biggest challenge. Now, you asked me what I like. Here's what I like. Leading the league in paint points, back to where they were a couple years ago. Last year, they were last in the league in paint scoring. Last year, I think they had something like maybe 12 games of 20 or more fast break points. I think they have 6 already this year. So they're playing with pace, but they're not playing out of control. They're not playing frenetically. There were moments in the first quarter I thought that maybe they were a little bit that way, just amped up because it was the Lakers and there were some careless turnovers. But they're doing a better job, I think, of attacking the paint, and that's not necessarily the ball handler, but multiple guys getting a piece of the paint to create confusion on the part of the defense. and it's resulted in them being a really good paint scoring team, even though there's not one guy who's dominant in the paint. The assertiveness of Jaren Jackson Jr., which we saw in the fourth quarter against Philadelphia, and again saw it again last night as teams continue to try to single cover him, which makes zero sense to me. But there's a lot to like. Just looking at the offensive metrics, it is a night and day contrast from where it was last year. Understanding a lot of injuries last year, but just looking at the metrics and how the team is playing, where their shot selection is coming from, I think this year it's just a marked improvement.
Don't you expect more turnovers, though? I'm not saying to an extent of ugly numbers, but when you're playing at the speed with which this team is attempting to play, you're gonna turn it over.
Oh, without a doubt. But some of the turnovers last night were just like simple miscommunications and just dropping the ball, and ill-advised passes. And like I said, it's a Laker game. Everybody in the building is jacked up, and so you're going to have a little bit of that. And, turnovers are part of the process of playing at one of the highest paces in the league.
When I look at Wells, I'm amazed. He's not. I think either you or Brevin said last night he's not playing like a rookie. He really is not. His composure is outstanding, and part of the reason why I'm most surprised is this is why you can never really count on Summer League, right? I did not think that he was comfortable at Summer League. I thought, frankly, Cam Spencer was the better guy, that he would be the guy that might end up sticking. And I was never more wrong. Plus which, the dude can defend. Not only can he hit threes, and I thought every time he touched the ball last night he was going to score. I swear to you. And he'll take on Maxey. He'll take on the best guy and defend him.
Yeah, he says, I love to play defense. So, okay, this is cool. You got a guy who can shoot the three ball at a high rate, and he loves to defend and loves to take on the challenge. I mean, this is a guy, and one of the things that's remarkable about him is started at a D2 school, okay, got his way to Washington State, and he has remained humble and confident. And, there's a confidence to him without a cockiness. And he's one of those guys, Fred VanVleet famously said, I bet on myself. And I kind of get that same vibe coming from Jalen Wells.
You have watched Wells. You've watched Aldama, who I thought grew up at the Olympics with the Spanish team this year. You mentioned Jaren Jackson Jr. In the last 2 years, we've seen that guy come from, let's face it, he was very young when he got here. He's now become a man on the court. Tell me you're most impressed by whom of those three, or any other that might creep in there.
Yeah, it's a tough call. I think probably Jalen Wells really stands out to me because in Summer League, I agree with you. I thought there was some, I'm not really sure. And I know the first game maybe in Salt Lake City, I don't know that he shot it particularly well. And you're like, okay, what about this guy? And he stepped into the starting role like in Game 4 of the regular season, and he's playing gangbusters. And, he had a good game against Milwaukee, another good game last night, a great two-way game against Philadelphia, struggled against Brooklyn. I think I'm just impressed by a rookie who can come in and be an immediate contributor as he has. I don't know that Pippen is necessarily a surprise given what we saw in Summer League. He's just continued on an uptick, and so that's great. Jaren says, "Look, this is our time. We're not young guys anymore." Speaking of the core, it's now our time, and him being aggressive, I think, is great. And Santi Aldama already a couple of double doubles. They've wanted and needed greater physicality from him and better defensive presence, and he's brought that. And the Olympics, obviously, I think, grew him up, and he's been super productive.
Deeper team than Grit and Grind?
I have to go back and look at the roster, but like I said, when these healthy guys come back, who's going to sit? Because Jalen Wells is like really, really good. Cam Spencer, who played so well in Summer League, and now he's on a two-way. Does he even get a spot? To play some games
Right.
at the NBA level. So it's a very, very stacked roster. And the guy who agrees with me is John Morant. And I'm not going to argue with John Morant and his talent evaluation.
Well, Bain for sure is going to get his due because he's great.
Yeah, exactly.
But if I were Marcus Smart, I might start thinking about coming off the bench. Real quick, there's some surprises. Are you? Because I think what Golden State is now 7-1 or 8-1 after they beat the Celtics in Boston Garden last night. Are you surprised at the redone Warriors being so good?
You look at Steve Kerr and working off the San Antonio system, that you have a culture and you bring guys in and make them successful. Trace Jackson Davis, I think, he was a very good player last year, and he's going to continue his uptick. And, Kuminga is obviously very, very good, and never bet against Steph Curry because they've got a system they believe in and a culture they believe in and a culture of success.
Cavs 9-0, Philadelphia and Milwaukee 1-6. Out of those three teams, most surprising?
Most surprising, probably Milwaukee. I know they're missing Chris Middleton. Philadelphia without Embiid, it's like the Lakers without Anthony Davis. They got no shot. And unless they have Paul George and a healthy Embiid for 60, 65 games, it's not going to be a good season in Philadelphia.
Now, the Embiid thing is really weird. He got suspended 3 games for pushing a reporter who referenced his brother and his son, his late brother and his son. And some of that, I read a columnist who basically blamed the Sixers because they were so coy about his injury, which, why I think you should be so upfront about injuries to give the players really the benefit of the doubt. But I'm beginning to wonder if Embiid is going to make it as a Sixer.
It's a really good question. I mean, he's been very adamant. I've done too much for this city to be treated like this, and Philadelphia is not an easy market.
No.
It's not an easy market. So, and Brevin and I have talked about it. Look, as a player, you know how your body responds. Is Embiid going through something that nobody knows about except maybe those closest to him? It's entirely possible. I can't. I'm not going to criticize Joel Embiid because I don't know what he's going through. I really don't know how his body's responded. It's easy for people to sit on the sidelines and throw stones, but unless you're really in there and really in there in the day-to-day, it's hard to criticize with justification.
Thank you, Pete. We appreciate it. Looking forward to talking to you next Thursday.
Sounds good.
That's our man, the TV voice of the Grizzlies. That is Pete Pranica. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we head down to Baton Rouge. Our SEC historian is standing by. Ron Higgins is right around the corner.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hey fellas, it's Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Jewelers, and this year it happened on October the 21st. My first gentleman came in the store and asked me what he should get his wife for Christmas. My answer was get her what she will enjoy and something she will love. Think about what she likes. You might even ask her what she wants. Then, come into Russell Brothers and let us show you the finest, most beautiful jewelry in Memphis. Folks, this will be our 40th Christmas, and many of our customers have been with us for all 40 of those years. They come looking for fine jewelry that makes a lady's eyes dance, but they also know that they will receive quality, value, and service that is unsurpassed in Memphis. And at Russell Brothers, you can play St. Nick knowing that if you don't make the right choice, our money-back guarantee will allow her the ability to exchange her gift for one that she really does love, or she gets your money back. For 5 decades, we've helped thousands of Mid-South Sammers, and we'd love to help you. Russell Brothers, 4646 Poplar at Perkins.
Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom gate solutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial needs, including repairs, maintenance, and installation. Automatic Gates Construction specializes in designing and installing automatic gates and fencing that seamlessly blends security, functionality, and aesthetic appeal. Elevate the safety and efficiency of your property with a premium gate solution. Automatic Gates Construction at myautomaticgates.com.
Simple, smooth, and every sip is easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does your favorite mixer. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand-bottled, taste-tested, sent out to a few friends, then taste-tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff, just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, mainly 80 proof. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous, a legendary experience for over 75 years, whether you dine in, pick up, or ship across the country.
Ian Eagle here from Thursday Night Football on Westwood One. Devin McCourty and I will bring you AFC North action to start Week 10 when the Ravens host the Bengals. Both scored 41 points in huge wins last week. Now, Joe Burrow and Cincinnati hope to get back to 500, while Lamar Jackson and Baltimore eye a move to 7-3 on Thursday Night Football.
Right here on Sports 56.
All right, gentlemen, this is Emmitt Smith on behalf of the Pen, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing gift, because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable, and one blood test might be all it takes. And now through November, the Pen is donating to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for select purchases. Talk about a great play.
From September 1st to November 30th, the Pen is donating 30 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for differentiated yards via products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $29,000 void in Mississippi.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food. No matter what you're craving, from 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week, all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshyn.
Well, let's head on down to Baton Rouge, our SEC historian. Oh, I just knocked him off because it was in the wrong spot. I should have had you get him on. Ron Higgins is going to join us here momentarily. We will talk all about things SEC, good stories like Vandy, the stories where teams have stubbed their toes, mainly Auburn and also Kentucky. A little surprised at that. How many teams he thinks will get in the SEC. Lots of good stuff like that. Ron, sorry I knocked you off there a second ago. Nice to have you on. I want to start with this, though. I want to start with Ole Miss and Georgia. And we didn't talk about this earlier, but I didn't realize this. You know, they got this new rule about injury reports, which I love. Ole Miss has 26 on the injury list. 3 are out for sure. It's either 5 or 6 that are doubtful, and the rest are questionable. Is this Lane Kiffin, being Lane Kiffin, taking a little jab at Sankey after Sankey, when he talked about fake injuries? He didn't say Lane Kiffin, but most people think he was looking at Lane Kiffin. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm sure it's looking at Lane Kiffin. There's some other folks in the league I've seen fall down, too. I don't know. Maybe Ole Miss does have that many people hurt. I mean, they could. I mean, I like the injury list. I mean, LSU probably has at least 15 on it, and they're all legit. I mean, really. I like, you know, this is what LSU started an injury report last year, released one. The SEC copied what LSU did. LSU copied what the NFL did. So I like the injury report. I think it's good.
Oh, I do too. If you're honest about it.
Yeah, and Kelly's been honest about it since day one. I mean, he started a year ago by himself because he was concerned about gamblers getting to his team and trainers trying to find injury information. He said, "Look, why not just release what we have?
Right.
You know, just don't." I think probably some of it's legit. I mean, but you know, this is a huge game for Ole Miss and Georgia. It's probably, I mean, Ole Miss has 2 conference losses. They're on the edge of nothing here. I mean, they can't afford to lose anything else if they want any kind of chance in a playoff. They're behind, I think they're about 17th or 16th in the poll. They're behind LSU by one. I know that.
I've got it right in front of me. Ole Miss is 16. LSU is 15.
Right. Yeah. So, they can't afford a loss. I mean, just like the LSU Alabama winner and loser, the winner stays in the playoff hunt, the loser doesn't. So, and I agree with you. I think 4 teams get in tops. I think right now you're looking at Texas and Georgia and Tennessee.
If Georgia loses this game, are they eliminated? I know if Ole Miss does, they're gone. 3 losses, forget about it. But Georgia, if they lose, is that it?
I don't think so. They've got, one loss right now? In the SEC?
That's it.
Mm-hmm. No, they're not because you know why? Because they got Tennessee left.
And
they got Tennessee.
And possibly a championship game, too.
Yeah, so they got Tennessee next week. And so they got somebody who's, ranked close to them, but they can, if they lose, they can, take out and climb some. So I don't think necessarily this is the end for Georgia. This would be the end for Ole Miss, just like this would be the end for the LSU-Alabama loser. So I love this. I love this playoff elimination stuff. I like the fact it's got some intrigue to it. I like it better than the divisions. I like you're guaranteed the 2 best teams in the league in this game, and we've seen many years in the divisions that you win that game knowing that somebody's going to get crushed, and not so much this year.
I think the divisional thing going away is really a great thing for the league, because now you're going to play each other more often, even though with as many teams as they got, it's there's still like a 4-year gap maybe for some teams, but I think with the old setup you could go 6 or 8 years without playing a team in your own league. That wasn't good. So I like it for that. And the fact is, 2 teams are going to they could be from what used to be the same division, but they're the 2 best teams. They're going to get into the championship game. And you know what? The 3rd team may be the luckiest team because that team gets a bye, doesn't have to play in the championship game, and they're going to be in the playoff anyway.
It's kind of like the year LSU won the SEC title in 2011, and Alabama didn't get in the game, but they got, they were able to skid by into the playoffs and ended up beating LSU in the national championship game. So, yeah, it can work out that way, sure.
The Ole Miss-Georgia game has other ramifications. If Ole Miss were to lose, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, but this is the conjecture of a lot of different columnists, okay? If Ole Miss loses this game, that means they're out of the playoff, which means the availability of Lane Kiffin is much more accessible for a team making a change, and in particular, we're talking about Florida and their situation where most are convinced it's a fait accompli, it's already done, that they are going to replace Billy Napier with somebody.
Yeah, I agree with that, and this makes him more available, and I'm sure he'll finish the regular season if he wants to go. Will he go? Should he go? If he wants to win a national championship, he'll go. I think all coaches want to go to somewhere, bottom line, where they feel they can win a national championship.
Explain this to me, though. I don't buy that anymore, and I'm going to tell you why. If
No,
you've got enough money to portal and get NIL guys in, and I know Ole Miss spent a lot this year, I just think if you got the right coach, to me, college basketball is all about the coach. And I'm not sure that's not going to be the way it goes in the NCAA with making a playoff or having a chance at a national championship. It's all about players and schemes. And if you've got the money now, and I believe Ole Miss can raise as much money as they want to, much like Florida, that you can win a national title at Ole Miss.
I still value high school recruiting, and there's no better place for high school recruiting than Florida, except for Texas and California. Mississippi's not that place.
No.
It's just not. It's just not. And it's not because there's a lack of talent.
But neither is Tennessee. I've never heard anybody say you can't win at Tennessee. They won a national title. Tennessee does
When's the
not
last time
have a
when's the
huge
last-
amount of high school players.
When's the last time they won a national title?
Well, it was T. Martin. It's a long time ago.
1998. Yeah,
That's like
1998.
26 years
Okay,
ago.
so, I mean, and that's because every state around Tennessee was having coaching problems, and Tennessee took advantage of recruiting in Georgia and in South Carolina, even LSU they took advantage, and in Louisiana. So that was a perfect storm for them. They hadn't had a perfect storm since. Mississippi, its biggest problem, and it's just inherently has the lowest academically qualified athletes in the nation. ACT scores the lowest in the nation every year almost. It's hard to get qualified athletes. And most of the people come out of state and steal their players, and now you got money. And look, Ole Miss has done a great job in the portal. Nobody's done a better job than Kiffin. I just don't believe in the long run you can win a national championship unless you have really good high school recruiting. Still, I still think there's a value to it. And I still think players want to go somewhere. The coaches want to go somewhere where they feel like they have the best chance to win a national championship. Places that have won national championships before. Florida's that place. It's been proven that's that place. I mean, different coaches have done it. Ole Miss hadn't done it, and I've had a bunch of veteran coaches tell me this every time because when a coach makes a move, all he wants to know is, does he have a great recruiting base? Does he have really good facilities? And does he have a legitimate chance to win a national championship? Does it have a tradition where it wins national championships? And
now we better ask if he's got NIL money, because to me, that's where it's going to come down to. And if you got a coach like Lane who has guys that go to the NFL, what quarterback wouldn't want to play for Lane Kiffin? What receiver wouldn't want to play for Lane Kiffin?
Yeah, I mean, you want. I mean, it's an attraction. He's a recruiting attraction. He really is. And listen, Ole Miss has done. I'm not going to demean Ole Miss. They've done a great job. He's done a great job last couple of years. Their portal, their NIL stuff is probably better than anybody else in the league, except for maybe Texas and Texas A&M. They got a ton of money. Ole Miss NIL stuff is better than LSU's. I think. Walker, I can't remember his last name. Walker, the former Ole Miss player who organized it. He's a former, I think, Under Armour guy who was LSU hired back. I can't remember Walker's last name. Forgive me.
Yeah.
He's been brilliant.
I know
he's been
about, right.
Yeah, he's been brilliant in the portal. He knows what he's doing, and I give him a lot of credit. And like Ole Miss he's made Ole Miss relevant again. They're really good. They didn't play well at LSU. But they're still right there. And Lane has to decide what he wants to do. There's a lot of coaches who maybe stay a little bit too long. He's been there since 2020 now. Yeah, since 2020. So, he's in season number 5, and for a lot of guys, they feel like maybe they've had time to build it, and he has time to look at it, and he has to make a decision. Okay, he's been here 5 years. How much further do you need to go to contend for a national championship? And when you talk about contending for a national championship, you talk about being on the level of Georgia, building what Georgia's had. And look, it took Kirby a while to build that thing, but that's the level you need to be on. And are you on Georgia's level every week?
Who wins that game? Who wins that game, Ole Miss in Georgia? In Oxford.
If you go on the basis of the hot quarterback, you would say Jackson Dart. I mean, in Ole Miss. Georgia has a knack for just like bowing up on the road and playing tough.
Yeah.
I could see Ole Miss winning it, but I'll probably go with Georgia in a one-possession game. I could see Ole Miss winning this thing
your way as well. I do, especially if all those 26 guys don't play. I don't buy that, but
yeah, I agree.
We will see. LSU, Alabama. That's an elimination game. Winner is very, very solid. Loser is done.
The team that has the best ground game wins this game. LSU's got to contain Jalen Milroe's running. I think if they force him to throw, if he beats LSU throwing, well, he beats LSU throwing. LSU's got to get some ground game to help Nussmeier. LSU has the biggest disparity in the league in conference games, biggest offensive imbalance. It averages 217 more yards passing than it does rushing. That's the biggest offensive imbalance in the league. They got to get some more balance. They get that, they could win a one-possession game. It's in Tiger Stadium, so I always give LSU a slight edge in Tiger Stadium, usually.
If Alabama loses, is out of the playoff, how much heat on Kalen DeBoer?
That's probably a hit on him anyway. I mean, a lot of fans don't like him because he's not Nick. He's not.
Well,
passionate.
there is no Nick.
Yeah, I mean, there's coaches have different styles of coaching. Alabama fans appreciated Nick like LSU fans did. They loved his passion, his anger. They want accountability for their player mistakes immediately on the field. And he's not that way. Just like Les Miles wasn't that way. And so the guys, the Alabama fans who want accountability from a coach screaming at a player when he screws up, they're not going to get it with him. And so I think there's a little bit of his laid back, his coaching style doesn't mess with a lot of passionate Alabama fans. And I think one mistake he's making is he's trying to make Jalen Miller into Michael Penix, and he's not that guy. Okay, he's not that guy. You don't want him throwing the ball a ton. I mean, and I think he's trying to make him into Michael Penix, and he's not that guy. It's a mistake when a coach tries to do that. A coach needs to come into a system and see what he has and try to fit, at least for that year, what he has. Urban Meyer did that with Chris Leak way back when they had Tebow as a freshman. He ran an offense. He didn't run the offense he wanted. He ran the offense that fit Chris Leak, and they won a national championship. I think DeBoer's making a mistake. Trying to force
Milroe
to be somebody he's not.
That's an interesting observation. I hadn't thought about it, but you do. You have to go with the personnel you have, and you fit with what you've got as opposed to you take them and try to fit your system. If they don't have the personnel, those particular talents, that does not work. Ron, as always, we appreciate it. We'll be another step further down the road when we talk next Thursday.
All right, Wolo, take care. We'll see you.
Thank you. Oh, wait, by the way, I forgot. Mr. 74, congratulations. First time you ever broke 80, right?
Oh, yeah. I don't know what was wrong with me. It was an out-of-body experience. I mean, when I brought my card back, the golf pro wanted to drug test me.
Well, you know what I heard? I heard golf stores all across the state of Louisiana were really so sad because you didn't throw or break any clubs.
Yeah, I mean, really, and it's a course that has some really nice lakes that you can hurl stuff into.
Wow. I'm so proud of you.
I'm really, it's an out-of-body experience. I don't know if it'll ever be repeated again, but it gives you hope that, that you do enough right, that you like golf at least for another day.
Yeah. No, you love golf this week. That is for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, buddy. Mr. 74. That's what I'm going to call you from now on.
That's it.
There you go. Bye-bye. That's Ron Higgins. We'll head downtown. Jarvis Greer is going to join us in just a minute. We'll talk Tiger football and a whole lot more. That comes your way next.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
The 2025 Range Rover Sport sits right at the heart of the Land Rover lineup, offering a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility. Smaller and more agile than a full-size Range Rover, it's a great option for everyone who wants luxury and practicality. Every model comes with 8-speed automatic transmission and all-wheel drive standard. Whether you navigate city streets or tackle rough terrain, Range Rover Sport has you covered. Every drive is powerful and breathtaking. The 2025 Range Rover Sport is the epitome of sporty luxury. Test drive one in Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City.
Ken Garland, you are in your 72nd year of business. Your son William is now joining you. What do you think is the key to your longevity in the building business?
My dad started the business in 1965, and I think being on the job sites daily and being accessible to homeowners has been a key to our success.
You guys have a work ethic, as you like to say. You're not hiring people to be on the site. You guys are there every day.
We interact with the subcontractors multiple times a day on each job site. I think that has been a key, as well as using the same subcontractors 20 plus years in most cases.
When you talk about materials, what is the first thing you're thinking about when somebody comes to you to build a home?
We're just trying to meet the expectations of the client and the homeowner and the architect and give them what their dream is.
When you get a Ken Garland home, what do you guarantee?
We'll be there after the job is finished. We're still accessible to all our clients.
Now I need to know, how do I get a hold of Ken Garland?
You can reach us at kengarland.com.
The holidays are almost here again, and whether it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, or New Year's, I've sold homes on all of them and even more. This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Mark's Bensdorf Realtors, and find that many people do move during this time of year. Being involved with a major relocation network, we see a lot of people moving into the Memphis area as the holiday season doesn't stop them, nor does it stop people who are just now beginning to start their home search. A couple of things you should remember. Waiting until spring when the azaleas bloom, so do the real estate signs, which means more competition. Before you list your home with someone, you should always talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers and just make sure that I am one of them. Find out why they say that when you want the job done, call Sheldon. And yes, I may be the worst golfer in town, but I have a highly successful strategic marketing program that gets it done. Call or email me at 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. That's Shell Dunn at 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com.
Hungry for that delicious smash burger flavor? Dyer's Cafe is the original smash burger since 1912 and still smashing burgers in Collier's historic town square. Come out for their lunch specials Monday through Friday, 11 to 2. Ask about their world-famous split dog and authentic Chicago or New York dog. Try the leaner side of Dyer's with a grilled chicken sandwich or freshly made salad. Also serving Lakes, Delta-raised catfish, Pasquale's tamales, and a customer favorite hand-breaded onion rings. Dyer's, serving world-famous burgers, dogs, and shakes in Collier's historic town square.
All right, let's head downtown. The Hall of Famer Jarvis Greer is standing by. You're going to have to, Darian Newsom, our producer, you're going to have to put this on because I keep leaving it on the drop. Good morning, Jarvis Greer. How are you? It was fun in the football meetings yesterday, and I swear I alluded to this earlier. Coaches always respect the opposition, and they have to look at matchups and everything, but none of us could figure out when you look at the numbers and the details, how in the heck Rice is 3-6. The one explanation is they turn the ball over a lot, and their quarterback, Warner, who's the son of Kurt Warner, he has thrown 10 picks. He's thrown for a lot of yards. He throws it quick, but he sometimes throws to the wrong team.
Yeah, and Memphis has seen E.J. Warner a couple of times already when he was at Temple. And he's lost both matchups against Memphis.
Yeah, but he's thrown for over 600 yards in those 2 games.
Yeah, he can get it out there, and he's got some people that can catch the ball. He's got one, and they throw to the running back a lot. Geez, the running back's got 49 catches. And I think he's the team leader in reception. And so that's one thing to show you, yeah, they'll do a lot of, flare outs with the back and maybe, some circle routes just to dump it out there quick for him. But, no, their defense is like, oh, my goodness, how can they be, only 3-6 or whatever their record is, and they're getting 30 sacks and, 50 TFLs and all kinds. Their numbers are just incredible defensively.
Yeah. 27 sacks, and they've only given up 8. That's the crazy thing. That offensive line, because Warner throws the ball so quickly, their offensive line has really held people out long enough, and you don't touch the guy. So that is pretty impressive. There certainly is a lot of doubts about this Tiger program at the moment, all because of the loss, which was a stinker of a game at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio against UTSA. I would say this.
Yeah, go ahead.
27 other teams out of the last 30 who've gone into that building have lost.
And I can see why. I mean, we saw that firsthand. It's loud in there. No matter how many people show up, and whether it's pump crowd noise or not, it is loud in there, and that can throw you off your beat. You know, the Tigers had, way too many offensive penalties, in jumping off sides or illegal procedures.
Five illegal procedures.
That's way too many.
And they only averaged 4 penalties a game. They had 5 alone there, 12 for the game.
Yeah, and this is like the Tigers are like among the least penalized teams in the nation. I think they're in the top 3 as far as least penalized. And you get 12 in one game, and that was a lack of focus. And I think more so than anything else in that game, the Tigers just lacked focus. I mean, that focus on defense and communication. They knew going in that the tight ends were going to get the ball, especially down close. And what did they do? They did exactly what they said they were going to do. And Memphis had miscommunications in the defensive backfield. That they left them open, and they knew that that quarterback likes to get the ball out. He's another one that gets the ball out quickly. He's very accurate, by the way. And if you give him a chance, they let him get back in the ball game after Blankenship went out, and that was really tough for Memphis because when Blankenship went out with that knee injury on the celebration, that was like it took the top end off the Memphis offense because there went the speed. He was able to get behind people and open up the underneath game. And he got 2 long touchdown catches in that game. In the first half, they have 147 yards in the first half.
Yeah.
And then he does the Ronaldo celebration, the Matador thing, and twists his knee in the end zone and can't really do anything in the second half. And so you're stuck with trying to get underneath routes. And then, of course, everybody's like, the fourth down calls and all that. I mean, it was the right thing to do on fourth down. And that's mano and mano, and then, all college coaches and all college players feel if you can't get a yard, then what are you doing?
Or 6 inches. I mean, come on.
6 inches. And I think they really missed the BT Express there because he knows how to get he's just got a nose for wherever that first down yard marker is. Mario Thomas has been a great back, but, there's a reason why they keep bringing Brandon Thomas in when they get down closer when they need those fourth downs.
Yep.
Because he just knows how to get it.
The reaction to being 7-2, in my mind, there's been overreaction big time in this town over that. Because I remember bad days. I remember some Rip Shiver teams. I remember Larry Porter teams. And the fact that some people think it's shameful, you're 7-2, is amazing to me.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. I mean, all right, Memphis, was picked number 1 in the conference preseason, all right? UTSA was picked number 2. UTSA is, they win at home, they can't win on the road. And the Tigers have beaten everybody but Navy and UTSA, who never loses at home. And who knew that Navy and Army were going to be as good as they were? They were picked down at the bottom of the league.
And it's interesting in the history of the American. I think only one team, Cincinnati, that was picked first won.
Oh yeah, that was picked first. Actually, went on and won it.
Yeah,
like the year the Tigers won it, 2019 Cotton Bowl year.
UCF wasn't. Yeah, UCF was picked.
I think. Yeah, UCF was the one that was picked to go, and I think in all that scheme of things, the Tigers just got really good a year too early. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because after you lose all that talent from 2019 and you try building back up, then Cincinnati's got a whole crew of guys that were young, that were good, but Memphis they beat Cincinnati in the AAC championship game, remember, to go to the Cotton Bowl. And Houston ended up having a good year after Memphis had been beating them. And, and UCF has always been pretty good once they, decided to dump a whole lot of money in the program. But, it's just one of those things where now, they've regrouped. They've got good talent this year. They're trying to put together. The only thing this Tiger team doesn't have that's disappointing is top-end speed. Blankenship's got speed, but after that, you lost your shiftiest guy with speed out of the backfield in the first game of the season, and that really hurt. And then, you lose Blankenship now.
That was the
they've been pretty efficient offensively, and the quarterback play has been good. And it's just that, they run the ball much better than they ever have. Even under Norvell, they run better than they ever have. But now, it's just 2 losses, and that's like, the world is the sky's fault.
Yeah. Boy, the Blankenship thing was weird, right? I mean, he just you can't blame the kid. He's joyful. He just caught the bomb.
Well,
but
he did
it's
it.
the
He did it on both
weirdest
celebrations.
thing. It's the jump and what did you call it? The Cristiano Ronaldo?
Yeah, the Ronaldo celebration where you jump in the air, spin around, and then throw your arms down like I'm here, I've done it, and land on the ground. He did it after the first touchdown with no problem. On the second one, he just happened to land wrong, and that's who was it? Grammatica, and who was that scored a touchdown in the NFL, a quarterback, and ran and headbutted the wall, and then was out for gave himself a concussion or a neck contusion. It's just the game should have some joy in it, and you should be able to. You don't want this to be a no fun league. You want the players to enjoy because it's hard getting in that end zone.
Here's what I think.
Everybody's out there trying to keep you out.
I'm going to go with Tim Cramsey, what he said. Just hand the ball to the referee. Like the old days. You score, you're supposed to score. Act like you've been there before. But I hope we get Blankenship back.
He said, go celebrate with your teammates. You can get hurt doing a chest bump. So we've seen that happen, too.
All right.
And so it's just one of those things. But hopefully, he'll be back this week. I think that would really help the Tigers against Rice.
There's no doubt.
Yeah. They'll need it.
We'll chat with you tomorrow night from Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium.
Yeah, big win for the Grizz last night.
Oh, yeah.
And we got a good Huff stuff and the reverse dunk. And Jalen Wells has got to be the surprise of the NBA draft. 20 points last night, 5 of 7 from 3.
This is why you never trust Summer League, because Spencer looked like the guy that was going to make the team more than Wells. But Wells has been absolutely outstanding. Jarvo, thank you much. See you tomorrow night. And
we'll be there.
We'll talk again next Thursday right here. That's the Hall of Famer. That's Jarvis Greer. That'll do it for us. Johnny Radio. Oh, man, he's ready to go. He's sitting dancing with Darian Newsom in the other room. It's really amazing how he's gotten old over the last few years. I mean, the man was young
Buttons.
when I first met him. My goodness. That'll do it. We'll be back tomorrow. We got picks and everything else. See you then. Have a great day, everybody.